Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Missouri State Legislature. My name is Jeannie Wider, and I'm a member of the Coalition for Cleanup in the St. Louis metropolitan area. I want to thank you for allowing our group the time to share some common concerns we have in our community. The group I'm representing today, known as the Coalition for Cleanup, was created in response to multiple events requiring cleanup efforts, mostly caused by equipment failure of the Metropolitan Sewer District. The group was founded over 10 years ago by affected homeowners having to react to these cleanup events. What I have been asked to present to you today is a request for revision of a public health policy related to the cleanup of contamination on private property due to equipment failure of the Metropolitan Sewer District's trunk lines and pumping stations. Please allow me to supply you with the details that led to this request. On Friday, March 13th of this year, several homeowners experienced a backup of raw sewage into their homes at approximately 7 p.m. in the evening. The affected area is a suburb located in St. Louis County known as the City of Maplewood. There have been no recent rain or storm events that could have led to this backup event. A total of 10 homes share the use of this sewer line, and each house along this line experienced damage from the backup of the sewer line. While all 10 houses were affected, the level of damage homeowners experienced by the event varied. Some of the homes only saw 1 to 2 inches of sewage, while 6 of the homeowners experienced up to 8 inches or more of raw sewage in the basements of their homes from the backup. Reaction to the backup was very slow because of the time of day of the event. As a reminder, it happened at 7 p.m. in the evening. Crews came out after about an hour to investigate and found the backup was due to a failed pumping station in the sewer trunk line. Because of the failed pump, the sewer lines leading up to the pump became full of raw sewage with nowhere to go except into the homes of the property owners attached to this sewer line. The current policy for cleanup from the Metropolitan Sewer District is to come into the home, do a basic remediation, including the removal of all floor coverings and cutting out of damaged sheetrock. All affected areas are to be replaced with new material. The Metropolitan Sewer District's insurance company hired a cleanup company to come into the homes to remove the contaminated materials. Another company was secured to complete the rebuild of the damaged and removed debris. The remediation for this event was done to the satisfaction of the homeowners at the time, but some underlying events of the sewage backup were not apparent until a later date. The Metropolitan Sewer District moved the families out of the homes and into temporary housing while the cleanup took place. Protective gear was required by the remediation crew while the sewage was cleaned up and damaged materials removed from the homes. The remediation of the homes was completed in late June of 2015. At the end of July 2015, some of the remediation workers and homeowners started to experience a rash, followed by a cough a few days after the rash appeared. Most thought they were having an allergic reaction to something and did not seek medical attention, hoping it would pass. About 2 weeks after the cough began, the homeowners and carpenters began to experience abdominal pain and bloating, severe enough to send them to the emergency department. SSM St. Mary's Hospital in Richmond Heights, Missouri began to receive these patients that seemed to be experiencing similar symptoms. The emergency department saw 5 similar cases within a time span of 1 week, each of the victims displaying the rash, a cough, and abdominal pain and diarrhea. The first patient was one of the remediation workers. He was placed on antibiotics and sent home. The next victim showed up the next day and was another one of the carpenters working for the same remediation company and working at the same home as the first remediation worker. The hospital, unable to determine the cause of the symptoms, began to think it may be work-related. But then, The next day, members of one of the homes most recently repaired showed up with the same symptoms. The later cases that showed up to St. Mary's Hospital were 3 children living in the home the men were last working on. The Centers for Disease Control was called in to investigate because of the similarity of the cases. At this time, there were no known health issues reported in the area that could cause the symptoms displayed. What was discovered by the CDC when they investigated was after the remediation work was completed, there was a complaint by one of the homeowners claiming the carpet replaced in the basement of their home was already starting to show signs of staining and a foul odor. The Metropolitan Sewer District called the insurance company, which then sent the workers back out to replace the carpet again. However, this time, the workers failed to wear the protective clothing required during the first cleanup. When the carpet was pulled, the workers were using their bare hands to pull up the carpet. Little did they know, raw sewage remained in the cracks along the basement floor where the new carpet had just been installed. When the workers pulled up the carpet, they were subjected to a strongyloidiasis infection. The infection was brought on by a type of roundworm living in the remaining sewage. The children living in the home were infected with the disease as they were playing barefooted on the carpet, and the sewage had again begun to seep through the carpet again into their bare feet. What we're here for today is to request stronger language in the cleanup policy requiring government bodies to ensure remediation cleanup done more efficiently and to guarantee protection to the homeowners. We feel the governmental body operating the Metropolitan Sewer District should be held accountable for the financial loss this family experienced due to the inadequate work. Not only did the parents struggle with the financial challenges of this event, it took them several attempts to get the insurance company for the Metropolitan Sewer District to come back out and review the issues and complaints with the first carpet that had been installed. The parents of the children affected by this disease have missed a considerable amount of work tending to their children as they struggle to clear up this disease. The current policy for environmental hazard does not allow the affected homeowners any input on the quality or timeliness of remediation. These decisions are solely left up to the insurance company hired by the Metropolitan Sewer District. Once the initial cleanup is completed, they consider the matter to be closed, even if the homeowner is not satisfied with the cleanup efforts. The language we would like to see updated in the current policy would be to allow the homeowner the ability to sign off on a final okay once the work is completed and meets their satisfaction. We would also like to see language allowing a fair amount of time to call the remediation crew back if problems arise or are identified surrounding the quality of work performed. We think a fair time frame would be 1 year from the date of completion and the homeowner signing off on the work. Update of this policy will hold the contractors hired by the Metropolitan Sewer District to a higher standard. We don't feel the updates in the language would cause any additional expense for the Metropolitan Sewer District or for the homeowners. There would be no reason for increased fees to any of the consumers. We do feel the contractors hired by the insurance company to address the damage caused by the failed equipment would be more closely watched, resulting in a higher quality remediation. This attention will result in better customer satisfaction by the consumers of the Metropolitan Sewer District, in the community, and for the patrons of this government-run organization. Failure to make changes in the language of the current policy will allow the remediation process to continue as is. This allows the insurance company to decide at what level of completion is acceptable and could be putting your constituents in a continued health risk. Allowing the homeowners a say in the cleanup process is just the right thing to do. I want to thank you again for allowing us the time to bring this issue to your attention. We very much appreciate this platform to voice our concerns, and we look forward to your response. Thank you all.